Hello, Wastelanders, and welcome to part 3 of my very first survival playthrough ever. That's right, we started vanilla, and every time I die, we add a mod. Right now we're heading up in the creepiest weather ever to clear College Square of all the ghouls. And no, this is not one of those horror mods, this is actually just good old Commonwealth thunderstorm at night. Please enjoy while I catch you up on the events so far. We have rescued Preston and gained a few settlements such as Ten Pines Bluff, Starlight Drive-In, Abernathy Farms, Sunshine Tidings Co-op, and Oberlin Station. And yes, this playthrough did start vanilla, and boy did I have a lot to learn about both vanilla and survival, but the mods have started to rack up because I have died a few times. I just have a ton of fun playing this game, but I never claim to be the best at it, and you can see from my combat that I'm not. I'm terrible at melee, I don't know VATS very well at all, or at least I forget to even use it, so there are still some room for improvement, that's to be sure. Now, of the mods that we have added, I have tried to keep them from being overpowered, and I have tried to keep them from being obnoxious, but I failed on at least one count, because we downloaded the No More Junkie Perks mod, and that changed a number of perks, including Idiot Savant, and now it procs every time we gain, almost every time we gain some experience, because it's based on intelligence, which we loaded this character up with, so it procs a lot. It also has been giving us a lot of experience, we have been leveling faster, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. Now, as you can see, I'm in full power armor, my best stuff. It's just T45, but it's the best stuff I've been able to manage to get and upgrade with limited resources so far, and you might be asking yourself, why are you playing it so safe? Well, you know, mostly because the lack of fast travel in survival is a bitch, and I hate having to run back to the places that I died at all over again, so I try not to. I try not to die. So sue me. I still die plenty because I'm not that great at this game. Even something like clearing ghouls can go wrong for me sometimes, so, you know, you never know. I might even die here, and then we'll add another mod if I do. In fact, I can promise you it will be worth waiting for because we add some fun stuff on this go-round, as the title promised. If you're not down with that whole patiently waiting for me to die thing, well, just remember something. Survival teaches, I think, essentially one lesson to players that the regular mode doesn't, and that is patience. Patience, people. It's not sexy, but it builds character, so let's build a little bit of character together while I clear College Square. By the way, I need to take a minute to put in a good word for Codsworth. I rarely travel with him as a companion, and it turns out he is amazing. He is a pack mule. He is an awesome melee companion. He seems to be difficult to, hurt. His health must be, decently high. I'm just really enjoying him. His commentary is fun. His battle, one-liners are amazing. I kind of love hearing him say things like, tally-ho, and, I never leave a task unfinished. He's just been a delight. So I have been underrating Codsworth for a long time now. Thank you, Survival, for showing me his worth. Codsworth's worth. Wow, say that 3 times fast. Now what you're seeing in action is our best weapon. This combat shotgun is an advanced receiver combat shotgun, and I gotta say it has just been my go-to for these sticky situations. It's a good thing I have this gun because nothing else has much knockdown power. In normal mode, early on, I downloaded a mod that just let me start with 70 special points. I just would cap everything out at 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 across the board, and then I could get right down to putting the perk points into other things like crafting perks, and it never felt like I was waiting that long for them, but this time around, boy are we ever. And since we have a perk to pick, we're going to go ahead and put one into science. Now the No More Junkie Perks means that the crafting perks like Armorer and Weapons perk and the Science perk, they only go up to 3, and it's supposed to mean that 3 stars unlocks all the modifications. Here's the thing, it doesn't quite. In fact, we'll see that some stuff gets a little hinky. We actually just won't be able to make certain modifications that just didn't translate well. But more on that later. Right now, let's notice that we have just pissed off a legendary Protectron by throwing a couple of Molotov cocktails down there and hitting him with them. So we're going to have to watch ourselves a bit because a legendary Protectron is actually nothing to sneeze at. Maybe I spoke too soon. This shotgun is fabulous. Did you see that? About 3 hits and we had that guy knocked on his butt. I love it. Oh, well, okay. Protectron number 2. Protectron solidarity. I get it, guys. I get it. Now, as we go through here and mop up the last few enemies, we see that we got a Berserker's Revolutionary Sword. Probably not going to end up using it for two reasons. Number one, I almost never end up using melee weapons. I really need to fix that. Maybe I need to do a challenge run where it's only melee. Maybe that will get me better at it, because I've just never bothered before. I pick a gun like a shotgun and I just roll in and sweep hallways with that. It's usually my MO. And you gotta admit, it's been working like a charm so far as we take out the last of the ghouls and we head back up to the police station to bask in the warm glow of Night Reese's adulation. Here comes the love.
Who's back? I take it that area's clear?
Affirmative.
Really? Maybe you're not as worthless as I thought. Yeah, now report to Paladin Dance. He said he had a mission for you.
You know, what is wrong with all of you Brotherhood of Steel diehards? What happened to you in your childhood that this is the kind of interaction you crave? But no time for therapy, because Paladin Dance has another mission for us.
I've got another mission for you, if you're ready.
Are we ready for another mission? Since we leveled up to 25, let's go ahead and pick another perk. In truth, we're not ready for that next mission. Dance is talking about the mission where we go and locate the previous recon team, and that thing is like a 3-parter, 4-part mission. I don't even remember, and it is dangerous. We're not there yet, so instead we're going to head south toward Diamond City and follow the main storyline, with a little stop off at our friendly Fraternal Post 115 that happens to be currently crawling with mutants. Stupid mutants that are easy to sneak up on. Look at this poor chump just standing there by the fire entranced. He doesn't even know what's going to hit him. And what's he holding, a board? Oh my god, I almost feel sorry for him. I mean, not that sorry for him. I'm still going to throw some grenades at him. But as the air raid siren turns on, I start to realize that maybe I bit off more than I can chew, and he does have some buddies. Not just buddies. This guy has a name, Deadeye. This is a unique super mutant. I do take him out, but now I am completely boxed in, cornered, surrounded, pinned down by at least one legendary, and I am about to die. Well, some of you probably saw that coming, but the good news is we get to pick a new mod before we jump back into the game, and what we're going to go for this time around is going to be fun. Check out the SKK Feral Replacement System. That's right, this thing changes feral ghouls into other enemies. Mutants, gunners, raiders. It's billed as a way of refreshing old encounters so that, you know, they feel new. And I cannot wait to see it in action. That's going to be a blast. What I also can't wait for is a little bit of revenge. So we're back in Fraternal Post 115 and we're going to take it to these super mutants. This time I'm being a little sneakier, doing more recon, figuring out what makes these guys tick so that I can, you know, survive in survival mode. And we can see that Deadeye actually goes over to a switch on the wall to turn on that air raid siren. I didn't know he did that. That's actually pretty cool. I missed that animation the first time. But all the air raid siren does is summon them down into the pit below, where I just start lobbing grenade after grenade and turning into some kind of a, you know, kill zone. So, thank you, Deadeye, for the help. But soon I realized that the grenades and Deadeye have done about all they can for me, and there must be a couple enemies left to mop up. In fact, where is that legendary? There he is. This calls for a badass one-liner, Codsworth.
I never leave a task unfinished.
That will work. And Todd must be smiling on us because we actually pick up a useful legendary weapon, the Stalker's Hunting Rifle. That could be a good gun if we ever get enough resources to upgrade it to full sniper kit. And moving on south of the Fraternal Post, we encounter a very unique and cool raider stronghold on the wreck of the tugboat, the U.S.S. Riptide. We even find a raider in full power armor here, and since I don't feel like charging in and handling all of this, you know, up close and personal, we're just going to snipe for a while with righteous authority from a distance. While Codsworth offers moral support and encourages me by yelling smack talk at them from over my shoulder, I just wait for them to line up like fish in a barrel and pick them off easily from range, even with a reflex sight. Soon enough, there's only one lonely raider left to deal with, and we finish him off with a pistol before getting down to the fun stuff and seeing what loot the Riptide holds for us. I'm a little disappointed that we don't find anything too fancy, even on the power armored raider, but before we leave, we swing by and pick up the real treasure on the U.S.S. Riptide, which is hiding up here in the cabin of the tugboat. The Wasteland Survival Guide that lets us get more health from fruits and vegetables. You know, before playing survival, I did not care about that, but now I'm really glad we picked it up. Speaking of picking things up, we're going to stop by Hangman's Alley and get ourselves another settlement. All we have to do is clear a few pesky raiders out of it first, and then it's all ours, and it's in a primo spot. Very defensible, very close to Diamond City. I know we're going to be making use of this thing constantly, so the effort we're putting into here is well worth it. I don't think lobbing grenades over the fence is getting us anywhere, so let's get in and get our hands dirty, just get up close and personal with the shotgun. We put the last of these poor souls out of their misery, and then the workbench is ours. Now, before we head south to Diamond City, we're going to take a few minutes to clean up some of the crummy raider garbage around here, just kind of pretty the place up a bit, and this is what we're left with. I built that little shack up there with the scraps left by the previous occupants. Almost to Diamond City, we find a terrified cow huddled in fear, and we hate to see such a sweet animal in duress, so we go help its owners fight off some super mutants across the way and find a legendary super mutant skirmisher. Taking this guy out might just drop us something nice. And as we finish him off for these beleaguered caravan guards and we look around for our thank you, we find out that caravan guards can actually disappear really fast without thanking you at all, like a bunch of rude jerks. You know what? Fine, guys. I was just doing it for the cow anyway, so, you know, joke's on you. But I'm glad I did it, because look what we picked up from this legendary super mutant, a kneecapper 10mm. But before we can really celebrate our good fortune, we find another animal in need of our help. This poor mutant hound looks terribly uncomfortable. Here you go, buddy. Let me just hold you up here and, you know, get an unfortunate angle on your crotch. Poor sweetie. Maybe we can find you a vet in Diamond City. You know, those things get a bad rap. They're really wonderful family dogs.
What do you mean you can't open the gate?
Oh dear, it seems we've interrupted something.
I'm standing out in the open here, for crying out loud.
And so we meet the good-hearted hot mess that is Piper.
Sorry, I'm just doing my job.
You want into Diamond City, right?
How did she know?
Play along.
We do play along, and somehow Piper's ruse
I gotta
works.
go get settled in, but stop by my office later.
We definitely will.
I have an
Codsworth's
idea for
affinity
an
is
article
almost
you
at
can put
100%, and we're about ready for a new companion. As Preston would say, Piper's timing is impeccable. Well, we have done it. We have reached the Great Green Jewel, only to find it gripped by paranoia about synths. In the midst of all this tension, everyone's pretty tight-lipped. Fortunately, we find Nat. Piper's little sister is as fearless as she is, and she gives us the skinny on who we should go to for help.
Someone in town who isn't afraid of this institute?
Well, there is the detective, Mr. Nick Valentine. He's not afraid of anything. If anyone's gonna help you, it's him.
But of course we find out that before Nick can help us,
was
we
working
have to
a
help
case.
him.
Skinny Malone's gang had kidnapped a young woman, and he tracked them down to their hideout in Park Street Station. There's an old vault down there that they use as a base.
But before we go rushing off to rescue Nick, I want to make our time in Diamond City count, so we go up and grab the keys to Home Plate, a workbench that you can buy in Diamond City. Luckily, we have the caps for it, and it's going to prove invaluable to our efforts to kind of bolster our equipment and our gear using all the vendors in Diamond City. Having them in close proximity is going to make it much easier for us to level up some of this cool legendary equipment we picked up on our journey south. Discovering Home Plate also gives us the experience to level up, and we've got a couple of perks to pick, 3 to be exact. So we grab Blacksmith for better upgrades to our power armor. We grab Cap Collector because we're about to be buying a bunch of stuff at the shops. And last but not least, the Rifleman perk, because we're mostly going to be using non-automatic weapons, including rifles, in this playthrough, and we need a little more stopping power. At the Dugout Inn, Codsworth lets us know that we've reached full affinity with him, and so now we are able to run over and pick up Piper, as well as enjoy the benefits of robot sympathy. Piper is a great companion to travel with, but I'll miss Codsworth. I was surprised how much I enjoyed him as a companion this time around, and his touching concern for our well-being.
Do your best to put the safety of my mistress before your own personal gain.
Of course, Codsworth. Jesus.
Another thing we need to do before we follow the main storyline any further is check out this new Feral Replacement System mod. Here's what it looks like in our Pip-Boy, and I leave most of the settings on default, but you can see there are a lot of different options we could adjust. Since I don't really know how it works yet, I'm going to just try it on a limited basis. Maybe just to make 1 or 2 setting selections at a time and see how it plays out. This replacement actor menu seems like the right place to start, and when we select it we can see that there are several different replacements: raiders, gunners, synths, super mutants, and the downloadable content actors. We pick raiders. We enable raiders. Maybe you can only enable one at a time, I'm not sure, but we're going to see what happens now that we're at the Mass Pike tunnels that are usually feral infested. Now, I'm a little nervous as I prepare to head down there. I remember my very first playthrough of this game ever. I got a little freaked out by these tunnels, and it, I guess, has stayed with me even though at this point feral ghouls don't scare me that much. And if this mod works the way it says, we won't even encounter any. And oh my gosh, it does work. We have our first raider, a legendary raider no less, so maybe I better be a little bit careful here. I came into this with my pipe gun thinking that they were going to replace the ghouls with raiders like the ones from Concord or something, you know, super basic low-level raiders. I didn't know the first replacement I was going to encounter would be a legendary. A legendary who has already blown one arm off my power armor and is currently just soaking up 38 caliber rounds like a sponge. If this is any indication, then I would say this mod just made my playthrough a lot more challenging. Think of how densely packed ghouls are. Oh, and we get something out of it. The mighty quad-barreled missile launcher. That might almost be worth carrying 7-pound missiles around for. We also got enough experience from that fight to level up, so we're going to pick another perk, and we're going to go with luck. Just keep building up those special stats. Now, I remember these tunnels being filled with ghouls, so hopefully we haven't bitten off more than we can chew as we enter in here with one broken piece of power armor and a loadout that's heavy on 38 caliber rounds. After the difficulty level of that first encounter, I'm anticipating we're going to have to fall back on some better weaponry than our pipe gun to get through this fight. Okay, moment of truth. What are we up against? Like, what if they're all legendaries? Oh my god. No way. I did not see this coming. Please tell me it's not going to be legendaries all the way through. Oh, thank goodness. Raider Scaver. Okay. We can deal if it's just a legendary here and there. And did they drop anything good? You know, like I said, melee weapons I don't usually get too excited about. And as we continue, sure enough, more raiders. And I have to ask myself, how is this going to change the flow of this particular area? You know, like the way enemies come at you, the way they're alerted, the way they organize themselves, or the way they act. It's going to be pretty different than when it was feral ghouls throwing themselves at you in packs. This is definitely going to be a harder fight. As you can see, we've almost lost the other arm on our power armor, and our health has taken a bit of a beating. These raiders keep coming at us, but, you know, a little more cleverly than ghouls by hiding and using cover. Their weapons seem, you know, dangerous enough on survival mode. Oh, looks like we're getting ambushed from behind here.
Hope you're not thirsty.
So far this has been pretty doable. The enemies have been coming at us in this kind of staggered rhythm where it's one or two at a time and then another one or two at a time, and it seems like we can deal with that pretty well. Also, Righteous Authority, the laser rifle, really good at handling ghouls or raiders, so thank you, Paladin Dance. If only I would learn to use VATS and unlock its true potential, right? Goals. But for now, we're just going to keep clearing out these raiders, getting further down this tunnel. Oh, coming from behind again. Dang, must be the other tunnel across the wall that they're pulling up from. Okay, as we press on further into the tunnels, we get a chance to split off to the right here, and we find a security door, behind which, once we have unlocked it, we have a room that's pretty lootable, full of some good stuff, and maybe we can even find enough to fix our power armor before we leave here. Because also in this area is a power armor workstation. And as we get to work on our power armor, we realize we did in fact pick up enough to do these repairs, and we have 2 good arms. We're back into the tunnels and ready to take on some more raiders. I don't know how you all are feeling about this mod so far, but I am kind of loving it. I'm really looking forward to tweaking some of the settings and seeing what else this thing can do. These playthroughs are a lot more fun when you can get some more engaging enemies. Ferals are a little one-dimensional, you know what I mean? So I am really pleased with this particular download. And that turret up there signals to me that we've reached the part of these tunnels that raiders would normally have been in. So we've pretty much done this whole trial run of the Feral Ghoul replacement mod. I'm really happy with it. And while we were down here, we encountered a steamer trunk that had some good stuff in it. A fusion core, that's nice, and a recon calibrated powerful sniper rifle. We can pull all the great mods off of this and put them onto that legendary hunting rifle we found that was an instigating hunting rifle. That should be a nice, useful long-range weapon for us moving forward. Back in Diamond City, Piper is sending us signals that our affinity is growing with her, having one of those little chats that lets us know we're making progress. I'm happy about that. And now that we're back in Diamond City, we can also check out the workbenches and see if we can't upgrade some of these nice legendaries of ours. We're going to start with this Kneecapper 10mm, Kneecapper being a legendary that has a 20% chance to cripple the target's leg. That is fantastic. These are nice, fast-firing, easy-to-use guns, easy to upgrade. The only real problem with them is their low damage cap, which, kind of holds them back in being a good end-game weapon, but the chance to cripple a target's leg means that even if I'm taking on a Deathclaw, I can make it stagger around and basically not be able to chase me. That could be huge. Now let's shift it into story time, because I've got a little ghost story for all you unbelieving skeptics out there. So here's how the story goes. On our way back to Hangman's Alley, on a dark and stormy night, okay, I made that last part up, we encounter this settler. He comes out of the gate as though there were settlers in there. I didn't have a beacon on, so this surprises me, but he asks if he can do anything to help, and I figure why not? We'll just put him on crop rotation, right? And I'm showing you the whole thing so that you can see I didn't skip anything or do any cuts to make this happen. When I get to the crops, suddenly there's no one there to give direction to, so I check the workbench. And there are 0 people at this settlement. There are no settlers here, which I already knew, so I run out the gate to check and see where he went, and he's just gone. Just gone. Entirely, completely gone. That was pretty fast. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know how to explain it, except for that apparently Fallout 4 occasionally has haunted settlements where ghosts appear. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I know what I saw. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the action. So we're at Backstreet Apparel taking out raiders because there was a wanted board in Diamond City that said we should do it, and I figured they were right. I want to try out my new Kneecapper 10mm anyway, and we could use the experience to get ourselves some levels. So this really ought to be a cakewalk. I mean, we don't need power armor for everything, and so far this 10mm's been handling people just fine. See? Pretty happy with it. Inside Backstreet Apparel, we start going through raiders like I usually go through peanut M&Ms. i.e. by the handful, and they're gone before you've even really savored the experience. But no joke, this clear is going pretty easy. We even try on some clothes. I mean, it's Backstreet Apparel, so let's see how we look in a bowler hat. Is this our new fashion statement of choice? No. No, I'm not digging it. Sorry, folks, I'm not into it. But this brown flight helmet that we grabbed will offer us a little more protection. I mean, I did take off the power armor, so here we go. Moving through Backstreet Apparel. Taking things out, easy peasy, no real challenges so far. The clear is going well. We work our way up to the top floor, take out one more raider up here, and then grab the Grognak comic that is waiting up here for us on the coffee table, adding 5% to our melee and unarmed critical attacks. And that's where the clear hits a bit of a snag. You can hear a couple more raiders talking, and I'm just kind of enjoying the whimsical teddy bear reading a newspaper on the toilet when we burst in the last door of the entire place and find the boss raider here, Clutch. She is packing a shotgun, and I very unwisely get right in front of it. That's not how I wanted that to go. But you know what time it is. Time for us to pick our next mod, and I've got another interesting one for us. Any mod, any weapon. This one puts all kinds of randomized weapons in the hands of your enemies, and I have never played with these before, but it should be kind of a hoot. Now, I jump on a workbench just to see what sorts of things are available and find out that I can put Gatling laser receivers on pipe guns, junk jet receivers, anything and everything is here. Now, if we scan down the list, there's some goofy looking combinations, but nothing that really looks like it gives us any advantage. None of these look like real upgrades from just the regular pipe gun receivers until I run into this beauty. 277 speed, 27 damage, and it's still firing 38 rounds. Range of 185, decent accuracy for a pipe gun. I have to try this out. Over on the laser rifle side, I come to much the same conclusion. Lots of goofy new setups, but nothing that really seems like a true improvement over the vanilla receiver choices. But I do want to upgrade the gun, so I eventually go with one of the vanilla receiver choices. Back in Diamond City, we check the Wanted Bounties board again, and we find an invitation to go to Hubris Comics and get rid of the ghouls there. That sounds like a perfect chance to check our ghoul replacer mod again. So I'm very interested in that. Before we go though, we did manage to level up, so we're going to grab another perk, and it looks like the thing to take is Nuclear Physicist 3, which with the Less Junky Perks mod gives us 500 more damage for, it says fusion weapons, but upon checking Righteous Authority's damage, which is a fusion cell weapon, we get the same 55 that was there before. So I actually think it must be radiation weapons that get a bump. And speaking of getting another damage bump, we find Cricket outside Diamond City, and you know what she sells? That's right, Spray and Pray, the submachine gun with explosive damage. Now normally submachine guns aren't great survival weapons. I mean, think about how much ammo you have to pack and how little damage each one of those does, but I think maybe Spray and Pray we could make a case for. Back in our power armor, it's time for round 2 of our feral ghoul replacement experiment. We're at Hubris Comics, which is full of ferals if you go in here, and we're about to find out what happens if it's full of raiders. Let's go. And boom, sure enough, first second in the door, we see ourselves a raider waster and more raiders dropping from the ceiling in the way that the ghouls would have dropped from the ceiling in the original animations for this area, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, sure enough, pretty soon it is full of raiders firing away. I see, what, 4 of them in front of me, and I'm trying to take them out with a pistol, but it's not fast enough. I don't realize how much damage those shotguns are doing at that range, and boom, we are down. Looks like I was right. This is way more dangerous than feral ghouls. But hey, we're not giving up. We're going to pick a new mod and we're going to jump back into it. So this time around, we're picking survival options. This one will allow a number of things. The option I know I'm going to use is the one that allows for fast travel. You guys might not care about that because you don't have to watch me go around everywhere, but I care. So happy birthday me. Fast travel is back on the menu. And we are back at Hubris Comics to take another run at these raiders that have replaced the feral ghouls. This time around, we're going to start off with the shotgun, and we get spotted immediately by a legendary raider. What's the luck? More raiders dropping from the ceiling, as they do, but I managed with the shotgun to mow them down pretty fast. Way better than the pistol, it looks like, as a choice. Okay, my health is taking a little bit of a beating, and I am bad at paying attention to that in the middle of a firefight, so hopefully I get a stim pack in me before too long. Walking down the aisles, trying to use the different racks and displays as cover. Also trying not to take too many chunks out of Piper. We've got more raiders still dropping from the ceiling, and my life is down to 40% before I finally start to clue in that I ought to take a stim pack, which is too late, of course, because they aren't instant. I'm starting to wonder if Hubris Comics is ever going to get cleared, especially with my combat skills. You never even saw me try to use VATS. Man, I really need to work on that. But it's time to pick the next mod, and for this time around we're going to pick the Girly Animations mod. Now, typically with my female characters I try to be, empowering. They need to be tough, they need to be capable. I really think that's just a positive thing to have tough, capable women in games like this. So what is my rationale for picking this Girly Animations mod, you might ask? Well, probably threefold. Number one, they're very popular mods, and I've never tried a mod like this before. One that adds more femininity to the character, so I'm giving this a go. The other reason is that I wanted a mod we'd be able to see in action, and you can see that this one's affecting the way she walks. She's doing this kind of like erect posture, runway stomp, putting one foot in front of the other. So you tell me what you think. I mean, maybe you like this mod, maybe you don't. But that's part of what the challenge of this run is all about. Every time we die, we add a mod, and then we see what we think. And when it comes to Hubris Comics, I have some thoughts. I think this Feral Ghoul Replacement mod is turning into a bit of a roadblock, but we're back for round 3, and what are we going to get this time? Uh-oh, we're in trouble. This is a bunch of DLC raiders. These are the pack. I don't know why they don't see us yet, though. This is kind of a miracle. I don't know how to take advantage of it. Maybe we throw some grenades around and just really kind of get things started. Oh, that did it. And now the pack is on us. As everyone knows, the Nuka World Raiders are kind of next level. Those handmade rifles are nasty weapons, and they are showing it, chipping right through me, and we die in record time against the pack. Okay, well, as you know, it's time to choose yet another mod, and this time we're going to go with a trusted old favorite, the Companion Infinite Ammo mod, so that I can hand Piper a better weapon. Maybe she can help me out more than with that 10mm she's been packing this whole time. We're back at Hubris Comics. Time for round 4. Piper is now carrying Spray and Pray, and we're going to make sure we're taking advantage of all our perks, taking the Rifleman perk before we walk into this killing floor one more time and try our luck. So far we are 3-0, and I wouldn't go betting the family farm on us making it through this round alive. I don't know which kind of raider we're going to face in here, but my plan is just to start throwing grenades around like crazy. Looks like it's disciples this time. That's tough. I throw a few grenades, and then what is that noise? Did Piper place a landmine next to us? Piper, you freaking idiot. Alright, back at Hubris Comics for a 5th try. Just kidding. I'm not trying that a 5th time. Now, we're moving on to the Boston Common, where we will enter Park Avenue Station and rescue Nick. Okay, I've regained my sanity. Maybe we'll take another run at that Hubris Comics thing another time. And that does it for episode 3 of our Survival Noob series. I hope you've been enjoying it, and I hope you'll leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Installment number 4 of the series is going to be epic, and I don't want you to miss it, so consider putting on a notification for that as well, and I will see you there. Thanks, everybody.